Well, hello everybody. Thanks for joining me today on Political Talk with Charlotte. We have as my special guest, Durell Cowan. He is the Executive Director of Heal 901, and this is an organization that you're going to want to hear a lot more about. Before we get started, I want us to think about I want you actually to think about helping us to get this broadcast out to different people so that we can expand our reach. This program that Durell has founded, man, if you love Memphis, if you love Tennessee, if you hate violence, you're going to need to listen to what he has to say. So, without further ado, we're going to get this show started, guys.
Let's do it.
How about that? And we are back. Thanks for joining me. Durell, look at that big smile. I mean, that's really encouraging. Anyway, what I want to do is I want to give you guys a little bit more information about Durell. I did some research on him, which is common knowledge out there, but you need to understand who this forward-thinking young man is, and he is a product of the Memphis Shelby County area. K. Durell Cowan, he's a native Memphian. He grew up in the inner city. Many of you probably remember we had a meeting at this high school back on March the 25th at Fairleigh High School. Well, he graduated from there, and then he went on and he was a graduate of Brown College with a degree in, whoa, mass communication. That is a really powerful, influential degree. Director, they call him director. Director Cowan fell in love with nonprofit organizations, and this is why that's important. He actually learned how to collaborate. He's a graduate of Bridge Builders. I'm familiar with that. Bridges Inc. As a result, what he did was when he started his organization, he had all of these organizations collaborate with local businesses and schools and churches. That is the key. That's how you're able to get to the heart of the problem. So let you guys hear what he has to say before I really bring him on to tell you himself, because I did the background work. But I want you guys to listen what he has to say in his when he talks about the program. It's very interesting.
What I find amazing is every time we hear about violence, we're always talking about youth. What I realize is that in our communities, there is a dire need for individuals to come and show them how to live the positive life that we're requiring them to. I think it is amazing that we will send them into school, and for 8 hours a day that they hear that they can be anything that they want to be in the world. But the moment that they walk outside of the schools, there's a dire reality that the community is not ready to support the initiative that we hear about in schools. That's where everyone can play a part, and making sure that the environment that our children are living in are an environment that is conducive for healthy growth if you want to eradicate violence. I agree that when you look at a poverty map, when you look at a contagious disease map, and then you also look at a violence map, you will see that those clusters all look very similar. So we can only say that through the studies and research that these things have to be aligned. Is crime a byproduct of poverty? Hey, we've been saying that for years. And if we know that to be true, at some point we must not only look at gun violence and violence as the issue, but some of the social determinants of health that individuals are facing on a daily basis. We have to understand that if a person doesn't have the basic needs being met, the cry of violence that you hear in our community is a cry out for those basic needs. So let's address all of it holistically. And that's what we do as an organization by going in schools, working with youth, and also being in the community. So when the students see me in school doing the programs, Heal 901, coaching boys and men, athletes as leaders, and shifting boundaries, they also see us right outside those doors in their community, making sure that their community is a safe place and conducive for healthy growth.
Powerful, very, very powerful, and spoken very succinctly. I appreciate that. Welcome to the show, Durell. Thanks
Hey,
for joining me.
it is a pleasure to be with you on today, Charlotte, and your audience. You
Uh-oh, I think we have a delay. Oh my gosh.
understanding the individuals that I serve violence, and sometimes the individuals who are in most need of service and support, and sometimes the individuals who are often overlooked.
Okay. I've got an example of a young man that sort of explains his testimony. Can I go ahead and play that now and you
Most definitely.
elaborate? Okay,
Most
that's
definitely.
right. You had quite a number of young men that were willing to state how the program has impacted them, and I think that's terrific because
Thank you.
there's nothing better than real life experiences and not textbook experiences. So let me get this set up for my audience. And you guys chime in and ask Durell some questions. And Durell, I think we have some delays on your end, so I'm going to be
Most definitely. Your audience
improvising.
can ask
Okay.
whatever they like. I'm here and available.
Okay.
My experience with Hill 901 has been great so far. He taught me how to be a man without, being a father figure in my life because I never had one. All the stuff that I needed as a man, he came and stepped up and taught me. Hill 901 helped with really mentoring, finance and colleges, education as well. They will come pick you up from home and make sure that you're at school and make sure that you have a way back to home safely. He'll make sure my grades good. He makes sure I got a way to school. Make sure I got food at the house. He makes sure my people's good. He makes sure everything's good that I need in life. He be in my school. He be all in my grades. He be all attendance and all. He be all in my grades and attendance. He make sure I need whatever help I need with in school, like math. He make sure he could tutor me, all that.
Durell. Oh, I think we're missing Durell. He will be back, I'm sure. Oh, he's still there. No, he isn't. Anyway, he will be back. Durell appears to be like a father figure to these young people. I'm just wondering if that is the key to what is going on in our nation. Do we have enough father figures that will lead these young men and women in the right path? When they don't have father figures, they don't have somebody who can um, direct them. Who's going to tell them what to do? Who's going to check their schoolwork? Who's going to make sure they get to school on time? Who? That is a role that Durell has undertaken. One of the reasons I asked Durell to join me today, oh, I think he's back. You are back. Okay. All right. Thank you. But one of the reasons I asked him to join me is because there are some things that are happening federally, and we need to keep Durell and Heal 901 in our prayers. So, Durell, would you like to elaborate on what I'm referring to?
Most definitely. One thing for sure is that when we're doing violence intervention and prevention work, that there's a plethora of needs that we come across in the community, especially with the population in which we serve, and dealing with these high.
Okay. It looks like we've got an issue here. Durell, when you come back on, I'll bring you back when you get your phone back. I'll bring you back on. Are you back now?
I'm
Okay. All
actually
right.
at Jefferson in a meeting, so I'm using county Wi-Fi. So therefore, if it's having some connectivity issues, uh, we're gonna
I
have to
thought
invest in
maybe
better
you were getting
infrastructure.
phone calls.
No, no, no. I'm actually inside of one of the county buildings, and I'm pleased to be in this space. And I just want to let your listeners know that all of your city county leaders are in this space, and we're talking about the same issue that we're talking about on this call, and just let you know that we're working aggressively, collectively, on how we can address it from our various lanes. Everyone has a role to play when it comes to the public safety of the citizens, and we just want to make sure there's an organization.
Well, they're your tax dollars. Now you see where your tax dollars are going to. Okay, Durell is back. Go ahead, Durell.
Yeah, I'm give me one moment. I'm switching from here to my personal hotspot because me and this
Okay, okay, I'll give you a few moments. How about how about what's happening in Washington D.C. Everybody? How about Hakeem Jeffries has gone almost 7 hours now trying to stop the big new bill? Is he going to be able to do that? I don't think so. And he can talk all he wants. My question is, he's drinking water, he's talking. Is Durell back? No, he's not back yet. My question is, how can he continue to talk that long? He's not going to stop it. Middle class family members are going to see an additional $10,000 in their pockets after this big, beautiful bill has passed. We're already seeing the price of gasoline is going down. We're already seeing the price of eggs are going down. For some people, slower than usual, than normal. Okay, but it's going down. I mean, come on, guys. It's just been 6 months. 6 months since this new Durrell is back.
all right,
Hi. All right.
we're off Wi-Fi. We're on my personal hotspot. We shouldn't have any other connectivity issues. Once again, due to me being in the county building and the amount of people that are on the Wi-Fi, we start to experience some difficulty, and I apologize for disrupting the show. But like I said, we're all working aggressively, bringing in national partners to make sure that we have a good plan to be effective at what we're all saying we're doing. And I would like for the citizens to know that our city mayor and the city of Memphis, his staff, are all dedicated to this. The Joint Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, which is the county and city entities, are all dedicated. Law enforcement, community-based organizations are all in this space, making a commitment to each other to work together in our own respective lanes, having a professional understanding amongst each other to be able to address the issues that we're seeing in Memphis and Shelby County. And I'm pleased to be in this space. I'm pleased to be able to lend my talents to the citizens of Memphis and Shelby County. I'm pleased to have a staff that is crazy enough to love the work that we do. And this is what I do. This is who I am.
So, why did you start organize Hill 901?
It was literally taking my own personal pain and turning it into power. In 2009, my uncle was tragically murdered by Richmond County Sheriff deputies, where he lost his life and was found dead in a strip cell by himself after only being in their custody for 5 days. So just understanding what impact that has in the family structure, because in single parent homes, an uncle is more than just an uncle. He becomes your first father figure. So I started helping every young man who was around my age, anything they needed, looking for jobs. You got a child and you need some diapers and wipes. Just understanding how those societal pressures of just being able to provide pampers and wipes for your child, and when you can't do that for your child who needs you, it leads to you doing things that are unconventional and unethical to be able to provide those things, which spirals into theft and crime and things of that nature out of survival. So just understanding, just engaging with individuals, hearing where they were at, and understanding how small situations led to them being in very compromising situations and sometimes even being incarcerated for the things that they were doing. I knew that I had to come up with a solution. I can't be this close to the individuals who are in, respectfully, everybody who commits a crime is somebody, cousin, uncle, friend, somebody knows these individuals. It's about what are we doing to ensure that those individuals we know need the extra support, extra care, that we're getting it to them. And that's what we do as an organization, work with the highest risk population, those individuals who are known gang members, those who are known shooters, those that are active, have family members that in gang, have historic violence in the genetic, and I don't want to say that as a negative connotation. Um, Street gangs has been around for over 60 years. So you're talking about individuals whose grandfathers were
Longer
one
than
part.
that.
Right, and talking about people who grandfathers and things were a part of these organizations. So they're just showing them that there's a different way of life, guys, and we got to do something different. And not just saying it, but being that lived example in front of them. So therefore, you have to be honest, transparent, and show your flaws to individuals and show them that you're still a work in progress.
So you got started because you recognized that there was a need, and it stemmed from your own personal experience, and you knew
Correct.
others were having similar experiences. And then from there, what was your next step? You decided to organize, or how did this progress?
So we started off as an outreach organization, just understanding the needs. We started this thing called Love Day, where once a month we would go out and feed the underserved population. And I started with the homeless population. And the reason I started with the homeless population was because my family owned one of the only black-owned liquor stores in downtown Memphis for over 40 years. And that was CC's Liquor right there at the corner of Main and Madison. CC, that's my uncle. So when I would go and work at the liquor store sometimes, I would see these individuals take all that they have to be able to mask a problem. And even though we were making money, I saw the issue and how they were bandaging themselves with a substance that was making it worse. So I was just like, hey, you know what? How can I take some of what I'm getting from this job and give back to individuals whenever I get a chance? And that's what we started doing. And from there, it just grew, just hearing the needs. And then we started doing scholarships like, hey, we're going to help the underserved. And my scholarships are very unique. I don't give them to the students who are CBA students. I'm giving them to the student who graduated. Thank you, Lordy. Barely made it by the skin of their teeth, and it's an incentive to be able to go to a trade school, go to Job Corps, go do something different with your life. And I understand that right now we're having some questions federally and nationally about Job Corps. And I want to say this for individuals who have no other option in life, Job Corps is like a college. I can send an individual from Memphis to St. Louis to get to Texas to LA to get away from the things that led to them being in the spaces that they were in, get them in a space where they got housing, food, and able to get GEDs and trades and come out being productive citizens. That is something that we're going to continuously need, especially in Memphis, with the current situation and circumstances that we're facing when it comes to our problem of violence.
I actually got to know someone recently who, during COVID, didn't attend school. After COVID, he had been out of school for so long, he did not go back. And before you knew it, he was too old to go back, so he decided to go through Job Corps, and he loves it. Now, there apparently is a disconnect between maybe the administrators and the results of the individuals that are coming out. But anyway, that's not an issue that we can solve the problem
Not at
today.
all. Not at all.
But there is a need there. Now I'm excited about what you guys are doing, and you have recently had a challenge. How have you been able to overcome that challenge?
Just working aggressively, finding support across the nation. Um, just I'm thankful for philanthropy in other areas, and I love to shout out some of my partners like Kresge in Detroit. LISC has been a partner of mine, which is Local Initiative Support Corporation. Um, just in recent conversation with the Brady Foundation, it's so many different foundations and philanthropy across the nation. And I've just been able to get some support from one of the local foundations, which is a community foundation of Greater Memphis. But that's one of the issues. We do great work and we're saving lives in Memphis and Shelby County. We are first responders. We are peace officers. We're public health officials. And that's what we title ourselves as, because that's the work that we do, making everyone safe. And be able to go into other cities where they have robust plans and philanthropy there to be able to support us during this time is extremely important. And I got to shout out our own mayor, Mayor Young. Immediately upon the DOJ decision to terminate these funds, the city of Memphis stepped up with $125,000 of emergency funds to be able to keep us afloat until something happens with the DOJ decision. And I will say this, that I was just in federal court last week in D.C. As the case was brought before the judge. And I want to be clear with everyone, this is not a lawsuit or anything of that nature. We're not trying to ruffle the feathers of anyone, especially the administration in D.C. But we do have to be clear that cutting those funds, the irrevocable harm is the amount of lives that will be lost if we're not able to continue to do the work that we do. So I want to be clear, we only filed a temporary restraining order against the executive order. Out of respect for the current administration, we don't want him to be upset. And we want to be able to have conversations with leaders on both sides of the aisle to understand how important this work is. We're not law enforcement, but we're a complement to. And when I say that, we have our own lane on the highway of public safety. We have our own lane, and we're in the fast lane. We're a preventive organization that has intervention mechanisms that work. We mediate violence to make sure that there's no retaliatory violence, even when we hear things that go on in the city. And with us doing our work and law enforcement doing what they're doing on the suppressor side, is how we're able to see these 30% reductions that we've seen over the last 2 years. But just understanding that organizations that work in this fashion, we should be public-private entities. We should be able to be public and private entities where we are publicly funded to be able to have the operational support that we need. I should not have to look for funding to pay myself and my staff. That should be because we're servicing the citizens of Memphis and Shelby County.
For
We
you,
should not have to look for dollars for that. We should be able to look for dollars to be able to support our participants, like housing and mental health services and things of that nature. And Hill 901 is a licensed mental health substance abuse counseling facility. So just understand that we understand that the population I serve, they're not going to be on nobody else's housing roll. They're not going to be able to make it to someone else's mental health appointments. It takes individuals who are going to be able to understand where they're coming from, their barriers, and support them where they're at and push them with their own dreams and goals in mind to live the life that they see them living for themselves positively.
now, on the positive side, I'm going to say this. We have been working under the budget from the last administration.
Hmm.
They're in the process of passing the big new one big beautiful bill.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not going to solve all the problem, but the new budget is going to come up after August 18th. September 1 is the month for the new budget. Your chances of getting more resources will become exponentially more positive during that time. But you got to continue doing what you're doing, and that's
Most
knocking
definitely.
on those doors and letting people know what type of work you're doing and that you're out here and you are changing lives. Now, you're in an office at the Shelby County building. Um, is that your own office, or is
No,
that's like a conference room, or what?
this is a conference room. So I walked away and found a little corner to be able to have this conversation in another room. But I just want to let y'all know that there's national partners here, and I'm pleased. We're coming up with a solution for the citizens. But I just want to be clear: this solution is going to cost money. It's going to cost, and I think that that's one thing that we got to be clear. Um, to keep doing the same thing and investing in the same areas and expecting a different result is clearly the definition of ignorance per Webster. That's not Durell. That's what the definition of Merriam-Webster says. So if you don't like it, write them a letter. But it's one of those things that we have to invest in something different. And this is the different. And when I say that this works, I go all across the nation
You
to
do.
talk to national experts,
You do. I'll call
individuals.
you, and you are in Washington, D.C., you're in Washington State, you're in different parts of the country. I know you do, and you're working hard. That's why I know you're going to reap the rewards that you so deserve. But
Thank you.
certainly, you are having an impact. I pulled out just one of the videos of the testimonials from the young man, but I saw several others and the impact that you're having on their lives. But like I said, you're like a daddy figure. And that's what so many of them need in their homes, a daddy figure. So let me ask you this question. You're focused on the holistic means of bringing value to someone's life in so many different ways. How about what we discussed some time ago about, because Memphis is a city, it's a sanctuary city, and Memphis has no respect for law enforcement. And this new administration wants to focus more on law enforcement. How will your program address that? Because I believe that's going to be the key. That's going to be the key to your getting more resources.
Once again, we as a community-based organization, we have what we call a professional understanding with law enforcement. Just literally was in the room. Once again, when I say the local leaders in the room, CJ Davis and her staff, deputy chiefs are all in that room. Um, just understanding that everybody understand we got our own lane, and we're a complement to law enforcement. So even though we're not directly attached, we don't have the same license to operate. My license to operate for our organization is different. And we're a supportive entity to the city and county when it comes to public safety. So when it comes to law enforcement, they have a job. There's no way that we can do this without them. And suppression is important. Those individuals who have committed crime need to be off the streets. We need to have a place to hold them until they're tried for the crime by a jury of their peers, found guilty or innocent, and able to make sure that when they're in those spaces that they get the resources that they need, that they don't come out and recidivism and be a part of the recidivism rate in Memphis and Shelby County. Those things are extremely important. But in cities and counties where we've seen there's the lack of interest of individuals, citizens joining those type of forces and taking those jobs, we still have an obligation as the government has an obligation of making sure that you all are safe. And just understand, and let's put this in context, and this is not a knock to any entity, but Memphis Police and Shelby County Sheriff's Office have both reported over the last 10 years that both entities are over 500 officers short. That's 1,000 boots that they know that they need on the ground, on the county, 500 on the county, 500 on the city. We can't keep being in a space like that without somebody stepping up. And me being able to be one of those organizations that stepped up to lead to the charge, along with my brother and sister organization, 901 Block Squad and Memphis Allies. Even though we all do different things, we're all working collectively in our own respective way of addressing this issue. But one of the largest issues that we're going to keep facing is going to be the funding to do the work. And that's what the conversation is today, to be able to remedy some of the things that are going on in Memphis and the amount of resources is needed. I think that the city has been sold low numbers from previous administration, and the county has also received the same information. But this bill for this work, and I just want to be clear, it's not this entity that's going to receive this. It's a holistic approach. So there's other entities that are involved outside of the three that were named recently. You're talking about a 20 million dollar budget annually, and that's giving you a McDonald's budget. Like that's as cheap as this can actually ever get to be effective. What we're doing right now is okay, but for the citizens of Memphis to really feel safe, it's going to cost a significant amount of money that we have to find the resources to be able to cover, or we're going to stay in the same position that we're currently in, or even worse.
And given the necessary amount of money, your organization will be able to help, I mean, be a leader in bringing about the change. Is that what I'm hearing?
Most definitely.
Okay.
Just being clear that to be effective in the city of Memphis, an entity such as mine that does what we do, the operating budget we have to be bringing in roughly $2 to $2.5 million a year at minimum. And to be able to find those dollars all in grant dollars through federal government, that's a lot of responsibility for our organizations. And I want to be clear, when you have to go after grants, I need more back office support to make sure that the compliance and documentation and all of that is in order to be able to keep receiving those dollars. That also limits the amount of people I'm able to put boots on the ground. So we have to find a balance to where government is covering some of the administrative parts so we can go ahead and get dollars for boots on the ground space. I
Understood.
shouldn't have to travel this country to find $25,000 every 2 weeks to make payroll. And honestly, that's what I'm doing. So when you hear me in all these
Understood.
different cities, I'm knocking on doors. Somebody got to give me some money so we can keep working. And I'm praying for my brothers and sisters over at Memphis at 901 Block Squad that just had to furlough their entire team the 1st of July. And you're talking about right before the 4th, before we know that we're going to see an uptick in homicides due to the amount of gun sounds that will be going on masked by fireworks. So just understanding where we at is just a large task that I still got to drink this out of this glass, even though it went from a water fountain to a fire hose.
Gotcha. Let me sort of mention some of the programs that you guys have.
Please do.
Have you have Heal 901 Cures. It is a community violence prevention initiative. You have mental health services. Is a licensed substance abuse and mental health provider.
Hmm.
You have support for students exposed to trauma, SSET, and that's an adaptation of CBITS. I'm not familiar with that. I'm going to let you explain that. It's
Cognitive
designed to,
behavior intervention therapy.
okay, it's designed to help schools and school systems that do not have access to school-based connections. Coaching boys into men. I like that. It is an evidence based program that facilitates connections between coaches and their male athletes in high school settings in order to promote respectful behaviors. And you're right, my grandson um, was when he was in the ninth grade, he was invited to play on the varsity team for Bartlett High School. He went on and graduated with and he went through some difficult times. I mean, at one time I took him to practice and it was cold and we weren't prepared for the sudden drop in temperature, but he hung it in there and he cried like a baby when he got in the car because he was so cold, but that toughened him up. And now he's talking about becoming a neurosurgeon and he's able to do so many of the things that are necessary in order to move forward. But he doesn't know he's got a praying grandmama that's back there helping him. Shifting boundaries. That shifting boundaries is a co-ed program created for middle school students designed to teach the importance of settings and respecting the boundaries. That's a good program. Setting Boundaries 2.0. That is designed for high school female athletes. Whoa, that's a good one. Safe Bar Memphis. Safe Bar Memphis assists bars, restaurants, breweries, and alcohol serving establishment in Shelby County to create safe and welcoming environments. I suppose you have a lot of people that are located on Bill Street working on this project. Green Dot for the 901. That's Green Dot training is an active bystander intervention training meant for any community member. Participants learn how to recognize signs of domestic violence, child abuse, stalking, and sexual assault. So basically, see something, say something. Community outreach provides for vulnerable populations through Love Day, Resource Day, Operation Warm Winter, Operation Cool Down, and Dine to Heal. I like what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Yeah, we're busy.
How many young people do you have in your program?
Uh,
Apart,
in the pr- in the program right now, we have roughly about 22, 23 individuals, and we
okay,
have 16 staff members total. And it's very important that we keep low numbers. And the reason being to be effective and dealing with high risk individuals, it's not a once a week counseling. It's not a once a week we talk to you. I have to engage these individuals 3 to 4 times per day. I mean per week. So I can't bombard you with 30 staff, 30 participants because it's too much for you to keep in contact with on a weekly basis. I have to be respectful of the staff and understanding the vicarious trauma that they experience going into some of these environments. Um, it's just a lot, and that's another reason that we're a licensed mental health substance abuse counseling facility because of our staff sending people back who've escaped a burning building, and I have to send them back in. with no protective equipment to go and save others. I know you got to be crazy to go back in there and save somebody. So therefore, I got to help you understand how important it is that you do so. Yet taking how important it is also for you to take care of yourself for the long haul to continue to be effective at what you do.
Wow. So to get in contact with them, Heal 901, they have a phone number, 901-249-4120. Email info@heal901.org. That's very simple to remember. You need to get in contact with them.
Please do. Please do. And like I say, we're working collectively across all channels, local government, state government. Thanks for all the support from Governor Bill Lees and his administration and their office and the people in the state who are trying to get their hands around understanding what it is community violence intervention is, so we can continue to support at the state level, as well as Marsha Blackburn, Bill Haggerty, and all those at the federal level who are in communication with us to get an understanding on how they can support this from that side of the aisle. And just I'm appreciative to be around such wonderful support, such as yourself, Charlotte, and Carrie, and Nasser, and Worth, and everybody else who is in
We
Memphis and Shelby.
appreciate you too.
Right, who is in Memphis and Shelby County and advocating for this organization that they see is making a great difference, and understanding we need to scale up so we can make Memphis the city that I envision on a daily basis.
Thank
And
you so much.
when people ask me why do I work so hard, and I tell people this, and I'm gonna let you have your show, Charlotte, and it's this right here. I want to make sure that people understand the Memphis that I fight for is the Memphis that we see at a Grizzly game, the Memphis that we see when we're at the University of Memphis games, the Memphis that's at a Redbirds game, where there is no social economic lines, where there's no racial lines. There's nothing but one thing: Memphis. We're fighting for Memphis,
I
a
love
better
that.
Memphis, a better, safer Shelby County for everyone.
That's great. Well, you have a great holiday, and I want to play this before you get off my show.
Yes, ma'am.
James Brown.
Yeah.
Super highways, coast to coast, easy to get anywhere. On the transcontinental overload, just fly behind the wheel. How does it feel when there's no destination? That's too far, and somewhere on the way, you might find out who you are. Living in America.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to think about how great this country is. We're going to be celebrating it tomorrow.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Hopefully everyone is firing up the grill and getting ready to have some fun, celebrating this amazing country, our independence, and literally enjoying time with family and staying safe. That's the most important part. Whatever you do, please be safe. And if you need any assistance, please, young people, old people, I don't care. I work with anybody from 8 to 80 that needs some assistance. Do not hesitate to reach out to us.
Thank you so much. God bless you. I appreciate your time today. Have a great 4th of July and a great weekend.
Likewise. Thank you so much.